17th, we've got all sorts of events, especially since the US election has wrapped up. Trump obviously established himself early on as the Bitcoin candidate, the friend of the cryptocurrency industry. He raked in 9 figures in donations from the crypto industry, not only him, but also for congressional races as well. And people want to know, well, why is the market moving? Yeah, there was a lot of bullish news leading up to the election, but obviously the results of the election, they speak for themselves. Trump won, an overwhelming victory here, and the crypto industry feels like, well, that's our victory. Remember all the things that Trump promised. Besides promising a strategic Bitcoin reserve, basically making the US government a huge bag holder of Bitcoin, he promised to fire Gary Gensler. He's floated the idea out there that maybe we don't need capital gains tax on Bitcoin itself. Obviously, he's not going to be an expert in this. It's going to be really important that he chooses people around him that can advise and advocate for the space. We know institutional adoption is happening or has been happening, not only with ETFs, but also various banks, payment providers dabbling with blockchain infrastructure, stable coins, bridges, all of that. We're going to see tokenized real world assets explode maybe sooner rather than later with this friendly administration coming into office in just a few weeks. But man, let's revel in the wonderful price action and the all-time highs before we get into the serious stuff. Mainstream news is going to be covering everything in the crypto space. I know that some outlets already started to. I think that cryptocurrency, especially Bitcoin and Ethereum, are going to be discussed right alongside the SP 500, the Dow, Nvidia, Microsoft, all of the stocks that we've got sitting in our 401ks, right? But this headline really says it all, right? Bitcoin jumps to record as Trump's election turbocharges cryptocurrencies. And man, I don't know what to do. We're at all-time highs. Do you take a little bit off the table here if you're managing your risk? Or do you think like, well, the charts look insanely bullish. Trump hasn't taken over yet. It's way too early for a rotation into altcoins if you believe that. But man, there's definitely a Trump trade here. People that were able to front run this, bet on Polymarket, make some money. Good for you. This is a tremendous win for the crypto industry, and there's no reason to just sour at all, even if Trump doesn't get to all the things that he promised right away. And number one is this strategic Bitcoin reserve. This is not the official, obviously it's not the official Trump team Twitter, but a nice one to follow. I'll set my alerts on this one, and there is a website. But if you remember back to the Bitcoin conference in Nashville, if you remember back to that, what happened? Well, Trump promised to basically DCA over years into Bitcoin. I don't remember exactly what the amount is, but it would make the United States just a powerhouse in terms of just buying up supply. We know the halvening happened back in April. We hit all-time highs even before the halvening. There was somewhat of a supply squeeze as ETFs just basically piled in. Since then, what are there, like 10 different Bitcoin ETFs and a couple of Ethereum ones? I try to keep my eye on that space. Obviously, we want this to be accepted into the traditional world in terms of investments. It's good for people who have been self-custodying their Bitcoin for a long time. It's also good for people who wanted to get into Bitcoin, but they just didn't know how. It's not that straightforward from a normie point of view. Now they can just, position their brokerage accounts into these ETFs. Something else that's happening besides this Trump trade that everyone seems to love. We're seeing centralized exchanges throw fuel onto the meme coin fire. Yes, we're going to get some normies who participate in Bitcoin ETFs. Coinbase, the app is very popular in the store right now. I saw Phantom Wallet also. So there are people being onboarded right now, onboarding themselves, I should say. But I was someone who kind of faded memes as just being too risky, not worth the trouble. I'm not a trader. I'm not going to monitor these prices through the night and try to, turn $100 into $100,000 by getting lucky. And I think that you do need to get extremely lucky to do well with meme tokens. But centralized exchanges are starting to list these things. Kraken listing DOGE, which I think could be the biggest meme token, maybe even rival the market cap of DOGE, which is sitting at about $55 billion right now. DOGE obviously did really well. We'll talk about that in a second. Funny story there. But man, Kraken's listing DOGE futures. DOGE is a rune. Runes are designed as quote unquote shit coins or designed as meme coins. And then you've got Gemini listing meme tokens, centralized exchange listing there. And we've got this one, FLOKI, a rival to DOGE. It hits a high based on just rumors that Coinbase is going to list this. Now, we've seen centralized exchange listings not exactly do what they're supposed to do in terms of pump the token. A lot of times these have been used for insiders to exit. But with meme tokens, if they're distributed nicely and you don't have quote unquote insiders, these centralized exchange listings could be absolutely huge. We could see total market cap of meme tokens just basically become the number 2 or number 3 sector of crypto because DeFi tokens are having so much trouble. A lot of the DeFi tokens, and we've talked about this before, they absolutely do not capture the value of the applications that they are supposed to complement. But we do see this ease of onboarding into DOGE, Shiba Inu, others. Centralized exchange listings to me are nothing but bullish. I've made videos on the channel about ordinals, about runes, the DOGE token in particular, but also doginals, which are meme tokens on DOGE. It's like DOGE squared. It's not just holding DOGE. You actually can trade fungible tokens on the DOGE blockchain. It's extremely niche. I revisited my portfolio over there yesterday. It's not doing so great, but I would like to put some bets there that this does get discovered. It's doggy.market if you're interested. I made a video on that not too long ago. And I mean, these are leveraged bets on just the memes really exploding. You might see some face melting gains, and I know that there have been some face melting gains already. A lot of it's based on low liquidity, super low trading volume. But with DOGE, with FLOKI, with Shiba Inu, listen, maybe it's time to just accept the fact that this is not a totally serious industry and got to have some meme exposure if you've been fading thus far. Speaking of memes, and here we go, Department of Government Efficiency. This was conceived by Elon Musk, and now he's officially going to work on U.S. government efficiency, and the plan seems to be to just trim all the fat from this bloated U.S. government to cut back on the number of unnecessary employees. Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE. We know Elon is a big fan of DOGE, and he's going to be tweeting about DOGE, not $Doge, but at DOGE. This is the official Twitter, all the time. And the fact that he partnered with Vivek here, a really good presidential candidate, in my opinion. A lot of people would have rather seen Vivek become the VP than JD Vance. I would say a lot of people wanted Vivek to be the nominee for the Republican Party. He's working in the government now. He's going to be part of this Department of Government Efficiency. But look, it's a little bit ironic, right? They are creating a new branch of the government, not a branch, a new committee to get rid of other committees, or at least trim back some of the salaries for these committees. I get that. It happens to be DOGE, DOGE, just like the token. But man, oh man, oh man, this Twitter's been on fire, and they're just pointing out all the ridiculous waste that our government has been engaging in at our expense for decades, obviously, not only with wars, but also just how inefficient the tax code is, how inefficient the fact that we have so many employees, probably not needed for most of our government. Entire departments are probably not even needed. I've seen the idea floated out there that the federal Department of Education is on the chopping block. I work in education. There's a federal Department of Education. Every state has their own Department of Education. And then every district has its little committee of administrators who, a lot of them have literally no idea what goes on in a classroom. And they get paid really ridiculous salaries to just show up to meetings, vote on things that don't affect them, and collect their checks.
Every quantum leap, I'm finding myself trapped inside of people. Differences underneath the fundamental side of ego. Truly not that equal. That's why they say don't meet your heroes. We are part of this evil, so pardon all my amigos.